Today is the last day of my trip. It has been 10 days ago when I left the Netherlands to start my solo bikepacking trip to Copenhagen. And what a trip it was! I have biked through stunning landscapes, met some amazing people, have had beautiful weather and had a wonderful, though sometimes challenging path. And now the end of my journey is here. I can feel Copenhagen coming closer and closer, and I enjoy every last minute of this last day on my bike. My name is Elizabeth and welcome to my journey. On this last day of my bike trip, I wake up in Strøby. For the last time I pack all my stuff, and to start the day good I make oats for breakfast. To do so I use this ready-made bag to which I only have to add hot water. And honestly, at first I was a bit hesitant to whether I would like it, as it didn't look really appealing. But I must say it actually didn't disappoint, and while I was making and eating the oats, my tent was drying. And as I only had around 60 kilometers to bike today to reach Copenhagen, I took some time to write in my journal. I did so also because then my tent could dry a little longer, as I wasn't going to use it anymore after today. So after I chilled for a bit, I cleaned my dishes and packed all my stuff for the last time this trip. Then I paid for the night at the reception, and here you can see the little supermarket which I mentioned in my last video, where I bought the ingredients for my pasta. Having paid, I jumped on my bike and started my last day, which started a bit more grey than the other days so far, which means that I have been really lucky this trip looking at the weather. Which is a big difference with my trip to Berlin. Not that long into the ride, I crossed this path with trees, where a lot of birds filled the sky above me, which was really cool to see. Biking further and further, the sky again became blue, like it has been during almost my whole trip so far, which ended up in again beautiful weather, also on this last day on the bike. While biking again on beautiful roads, I feel I have renewed energy, because Copenhagen is getting really close now. Which makes that, although the landscapes are quite similar to the ones from yesterday, the whole experience of the ride is so different. And while I'm thinking about this, I enter Køge, which looks like a really nice place. However, I have no time to waste, as Copenhagen is waiting for me. I do of course enjoy riding through the streets of Køge with all of these lovely and sometimes colorful buildings. After leaving Køge and passing some roadwork, I again find myself in the middle of nowhere with great cycle paths. Well, today is the last day, the last biking day I should say, because I'm also staying 2 days in Copenhagen to enjoy the city. It feels a bit weird. It's already over almost, but I'm also really excited for Copenhagen. And today is around 60 kilometers, I think a little bit more. The weather is again really good, so lucky this time. And yeah, I hope this will be the last good day. I'm already enjoying it. Huyelse is the next spot I'm biking through, but it is really small, so before I know it, I already passed it.
Today I left a bit late from the camping where I stayed because I had to let my tent dry, because now I'm staying in a hostel and then I'm going with the Flixbus, so there's not a lot of possibilities to let the tent dry, and if it is wet inside the package for too long, I don't like that. So I left around 10 o'clock. It's now 11:30. I'm not in a rush, so that's nice. I can enjoy this last day.
Then I encountered a cycling race, which made that, besides that I had to wait a couple of times and adjust my route a bit, I could enjoy these exciting moments where the group was passing by really fast. And the route detour wasn't that big, so with around 3 kilometers more, I was back at my original path. After enjoying the race for a bit, I got back on my bike and passed Karlslunde. And like nothing happened one moment ago, I again was all by myself. But after some quiet roads, I bumped into another nice surprise. In this lovely city where I don't know the name of, I came across this sort of festival where a lot of kids were flying a kite. And as I wasn't in a hurry and I was already looking for some food, I of course got off my bike to take a closer look. And I didn't regret that, as the vibes were really good. And they also sold food, so I bought this sort of hamburger, which wasn't a real hamburger. Please, if somebody knows what this is, please let me know in the comments, as I'm really curious. And for the vitamins, I also had this little bag with some cucumber and other stuff. So with this nice view, I found a perfect spot for lunch. After finishing my lunch, I wandered around a bit more and enjoyed the nice vibe. Continuing my route, I couldn't help it but to go into any nice path across on my route, as it was the last day, like for example this one. But luckily my route itself was also leading me to beautiful roads, and they were also really quiet, like I was the only one there. But I wasn't complaining, as I just had all of these wonderful views almost for myself. And by now I saw that my route would lead me for a big path through this park along the coast, which was beautiful and without any cars, so the perfect bike conditions. I guess that this route will be much more crowded in the vacation period. As this was my last day, I tried to enjoy the ride as much as possible, and with such a lovely route, that wasn't hard. And I don't know why, but seeing this building felt like a sneak peek of Copenhagen, so I had to stop for a second and take everything in. Once every couple kilometers there was a kiosk like this one, where there were mostly more people who came off the beach and went to the beach. And although I had time enough to take a break at one of these spots, I was too restless to chill for too long, as I was really excited to arrive in Copenhagen. After biking on this path for quite some time, my route changed a bit into a more city vibe area, which was the beginning of the end of today's ride. The number of houses increased more and more, and so did my smile, as I knew that Copenhagen was getting really close now. And without really knowing where it exactly happened, as there were no clear signs on my route, I had entered Copenhagen. From one moment to another, I found myself between a lot of other cyclists in the vibrant city which had been the goal from the start. While soaking in all the impressions around me and watching out for other, mostly faster cyclists, I now had to find my final destination, namely my hostel. As you can see, there are a lot of people sitting and walking in running outfits, as I apparently had arrived on the day of the marathon in Copenhagen, which had just finished. And after a nice route through the city, there it was, my home for the next couple nights, the hostel. Describing the feeling that I had at that moment is kind of hard to do so, as it's kind of mixed with all kinds of feelings, as I was of course really proud of myself that I had arrived in Copenhagen, but I also like the adventure you have been on for 10 days is then suddenly over. So it's weird. And the first thing I did when I arrived there was messaging my parents and my brother that I had arrived and that I was safe. And then of course it was time to check in and take a really long warm shower. Luckily, my room was empty when I arrived, which made that I had the bathroom all for myself. Here a tour of my room. Everything looked very clean and the beds looked really comfy. Although I must say, at this point my standard was quite low after sleeping on a very thin mattress the last few nights. The shower did me good, and after putting some of my stuff away in a locker, as the room wasn't super big, I was ready to explore the city. And on my way down to the entrance of the hostel, at the left here you can see the shared kitchen. And a bit further is the outdoor place for all the bikes, including mine. Here you can see the common area where you can chill for a bit. And if you pass the reception, you find the food area where you can buy all kinds of food the whole day long and chill even more. And I must say, the vibe in this spot is really nice. And then it was time to explore the city, and almost the first thing that I did was entering a candy shop. I have always enjoyed candy shops like this one, and look how big it is. Actually, I'm more of a chocolate fan, but when I can pick my own candy, like I am at a breakfast buffet, then I'm always happy. However, you can believe me or not, I didn't buy anything. Yet. As I agreed with myself that I would buy something here on the last day for on the ride home. Next was the 7-Eleven. On the one hand because I like supermarkets abroad, but mostly because this shop reminded me of my backpacking trip in Southeast Asia, so I had to have a look inside. Some kilometers later I arrived finally at the spot that I had planned on a walking to, which was the IKEA. And here at IKEA you could rent cargo bikes. How cool! And this clock, yes, I'm a fan. Why I walked all the way to the IKEA from my hostel was because I wanted to have dinner here. And you probably think at this point, why? Why do you walk all the way to the IKEA to have dinner here? And yes, I totally get that question. And on the one hand, I can say here that I just like the IKEA, also in the Netherlands. But the biggest reason to go here in Denmark is because, I thought that the IKEA was a Danish brand. Little did I know. Nope. To defend myself here a bit, I mostly had this idea in my mind that IKEA was a Danish brand because I visited a supermarket the day before which had this IKEA vibe. And that's why in my head, well, yeah. Please, if there are people watching this video who had the same idea, then please back me up in the comments. And all the others, sorry, don't blame me too much. I must say, although I found out that, well, IKEA in Denmark wasn't such a special thing, the food did taste good. And afterwards, the views from up there were also really nice. Having enjoyed the views, I walked a bit further to the shopping mall behind the IKEA. And here I found another super big candy store, which I of course needed to visit. There's so much candy. Wandering around a bit more, I found out that this shopping mall is actually really beautiful to only walk through, with all kinds of art, and there were even some shops open still. And of course, I couldn't skip the big supermarket inside the mall. And look here again, these IKEA vibe products. That's why I thought, well, never mind. Here they also had this cool pineapple machine which could cut fresh pineapple. After my walk through the mall, I felt it was time to go back to my hostel and call it a day. And while I wandered back to my hostel and looked around me, I realized step by step more and more that I had made it all the way to Copenhagen from the Netherlands by bike. Once arrived in my hostel, my curiosity brought me to the gym and swimming pool downstairs, which you could both book. And before going straight to bed, I did write some last things in my diary of my adventure. And then it was finally time to go to bed. And as you can tell by my face, that felt really, really good. And that was it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. In the next episode, I'm gonna explore more of Copenhagen and see all the highlights. So it's gonna be fun, I promise. See you there. Bye bye.